All right, all right, all right. Welcome in, everyone. It's Domestic Violence Month, and we're here to educate and bring awareness. If you want to share your story and you want something to say, just call on in. We'll have the number going across after the first break. I guess it's not here yet, so hopefully she'll tune in soon. But until then, we're going to go on with the show. We're going to go ahead and start off with our assistant host, Miss Tanise.
Hey, hey, hey. I'm wearing shades. I got bad allergies. How y'all doing?
And now also our co-host, Keisha.
Hello, everybody. And I think I put my title wrong, but that's okay. I'm the co-host.
That's
And
all right.
also nothing sweeter, and we miss her. She haven't been here for a minute, but she back well on her feet again. Miss Honey.
Hello, everyone.
Honey, honey.
How
Sounds
y'all
great.
doing?
Hey, honey.
What's going
Hey,
on with real?
Yes.
are we ready for tonight? Let's get it, ladies.
Yes.
Well,
Oh, hold on. I
we
gotta
don't have
finish.
our guest here
Hold on.
today, so hopefully she'll pop in soon. I don't know what's happened, but hey, we still gonna talk about domestic violence no matter what. So we're gonna start off with our assistant host. In your own perspective, what do you see domestic violence to be defined as?
Anything that can tear a person apart. Anything that can cause mental and physical harm. Hey.
Yes. And Miss Keisha.
I'm going to say anything that makes a person feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Definitely after they've told you that they feel that way or that goes
Exactly.
against their will.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Honey.
I agree with the ladies, but I also want to add, like she said, if you telling someone something makes them feel uncomfortable or unsafe or um less than, then yes.
Yeah. And I see my Miss China in here. And Miss China, if you can get hold of DJ Mack and see if he can call on Dr. Gilbert to see if she's going to make it or have she forgot. If you would please contact him for me and ask him to call her. Thank you. Now, I agree with each one of y'all. And I mean, domestic violence, it is something to me of a disrespect. Because my thing is when you injure my body, when you hurt my feelings, when
Mm-hmm.
you traumatize my mental stability,
Yeah.
that's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the respecting on the woman that you got before you or the man that's before you. So my thing is that if you can't respect that, then you need to get help for that because it's not okay. Now, we all have a different line, and me and speaking and going through the experience, there's different areas that this come from. What are some of the areas that you think that this can be uprooted from, Miss Keisha?
Some of the areas, childhood trauma, um, just things that have happened to you as a child, or even if they didn't even physically happen to you. If you've seen a parent, a mom being abused by your dad or a boyfriend, um, I think that it starts early. And
Yes,
if
yes,
you happen to get away from it and then start experiencing it in your own relationships, then it can start there too.
exactly. And Miss Honey,
Can you ask that question one more time? I'm sorry.
in your own opinion, where do you think domestic violence could uproot from?
Childhood, it can uproot from a lot of things. Like with me, I had I had a lot of kind of abuse. I had mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. It started from family, home, seeing things happen to other ones in the house around me, and then people that's taking advantage of a young kid with mental. I mean, just young and don't know any better. Yeah, they can be programmed to thinking it's real, or you know what I'm saying. I think
Yes.
a lot of things it can start from. So
Yes. And we're going to go ahead and our newest one that's joined the family of a motivational speaker, Miss Nura.
can hear
You're
you.
muted.
Hi.
You're muted.
We'll give her a minute to unmute herself.
How is that?
There you go.
Okay. Welcome in. Welcome. Now, we asked the question, what do you think, in your own opinion, what does domestic violence mean to you?
It, any type of violence that occurs in the household, any type.
Yes. And then in your own opinion, where do you think, in your own mind, where you think that it could have uproot from? Where are areas that it could uproot from?
Mm.
Well, I'm one for generational curses, so I say a lot of that is passed down from ignorance and learned behavior from family traditions, so to speak.
Yes, true, true.
True.
And in my perspective, in my experience as well, it came from as a child being exposed to it. And when you're exposed to it, there's a high percentage that you can repeat being an abuser, or you can repeat actually the cycle of being abused. So that's where mine came from myself. And I know some of us here have experienced in life, domestic violence, and we have became survivors of it, to where now that we're able to speak on it. So, it's not nothing that, to take lightly. We known for years that for a while they had put it on the back burner because they did not take it serious. They didn't think that it was something serious at all. They was like, oh, she could just leave or she could just get away. But it's not that easy as they think that it is. What do you think about that when you hear somebody say, oh, you could just leave, Denise?
It doesn't work that way because depending on what type of abuse that you're going through, male or female, it starts off with mental conditioning. When you're conditioning a person to be abused, and once that conditioning happens, you can also I think it's called stockade syndrome, where they,
Stockholm.
huh?
Stockholm.
Thank you. That's it. Stockholm syndrome, where they think they know they can leave, but their mind is telling them, "I can't." Because they think anywhere that's because they already conditioned where that person. I'm just gonna use the male on this one, where the male has gotten that person so brainwashed into thinking that if they leave, no matter where they go, he's gonna find them because he's already conditioned them
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
to be that way. So they don't want to leave because they think it's going to be worse for them or worse for other loved ones. So they won't leave.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Can hear you.
Forgot my mute was muted. Uh, my mic was muted. Okay, that was backwards. Yeah, because you'll hear that a lot. And I mean, being
Yeah.
being in the court system as well, I came against a lot of things that I was just like, are you serious? You know,
Yeah.
to where they call victimizing the victim.
Yep.
And more or less what they do in the system is where they put the finger at like, well, why did you go back? Why did you even choose to stay?
Yeah.
It's
You
not that
know,
they wanted to go back. It's just they're brainwashed into they're conditioned to go back.
yeah, and see the thing that I can say is like what they call it is what I call it is the main key, master key to it is fear.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
And
So
sometimes it
And
could be
control.
that a person to blame themselves for, oh, he's treating me that way because I deserve it, or no, it's not that. Sometimes it could be you love the person and you don't want to leave them. You thinking that they're going to get better or
I can
Yeah.
fix.
change. What
I
you
can
say?
fix. I can fix him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I realized after so many years dealing with someone over 20 some years and taking the verbal abuse and the mental abuse, um, I finally got a chance to realize ain't nothing my fault. I do not have to accept all the abuse that he's given because I care for him or whatever because he's doing this for this person or that person. No, it's just, like Denise says, it's a mental thing. You know, mind over matter. If you brainwash you, I've been brainwashed since birth, so but I broke that curse with me and my daughter. So you know.
Amen.
You said that, amen.
I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I can't listen.
You know, one of the challenges for me was when I went to therapy and I had to do anger management twice because part of the healing process is grieving. So
Hmm.
I did go through the anger and all of that. So um, I worked with my therapist and she let me see that I had an issue with my boundaries. So a lot of times we're being abused and don't know it because we don't have boundaries set for
Hmm.
ourselves. What we will say no to or things we won't accept or will accept. We don't have boundaries because we were never taught how to have boundaries. We were taught to
Absolutely.
say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, and
Hmm.
the elders are the wisest and do what they say and don't talk back. So we take that into our adulthood, and you know when we get married or when we get with a man, especially if he's a lot older than us, we keep that same behavior and we don't have boundaries, safe and healthy boundaries for ourselves. We have to
That's
work on that.
I agree.
True, true. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. And like I said, you find a lot of it because I mean, even in the workplace, it's like they say, "Oh well, y'all just weak. Yeah, y'all just need to leave." You know, and it's something like just like Mr. Britton said. And I know you know what, I'm gonna have to hire China as my moderator because I need her to keep up with these comments. But like he said, because we are products of learned behavior, and that's
Yeah.
true. And I sat back and I actually thought about that, even when it came down to religious wise. How what we're taught is what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So what is put before us is more or less like that's all we know how to do. That's all we go towards. And especially when you put this before, a child, thinking like, okay, is this really what love is all about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the reasons why some of the people, well, he beat me because he care or he loves me, and he doesn't
If,
want to lose me.
if I
So
You
did,
don't want to hurt his feelings and all of that.
yes,
if I hadn't walked across the street, and let that man see me, he wouldn't have done what he did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your feeling on that? We're gonna go over to Nora. What is your feeling about that when you hear a woman say, well, if he hit me like that or he's angry, it's because he care.
Because sometimes that's all the love people were shown. Like when you were young and you always get spankings, and sometimes if you have a parent and they didn't teach you, this is why I'm spanking you, or this is why you're being chastised. You just got one of them crazy parents that just beat you, don't say nothing, just bipolar, jump up, beat you, and one moment they saying I love you, one moment they don't, and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of that stem from childhood.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. And see, you made me think about that because it's just like I say now here, you know, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't whoop you. I wouldn't discipline you. I wouldn't correct you. So when you think about that and the way you put it, it's just like a woman being programmed like, okay, if my mom didn't whoop me the way she did, that means she didn't love me. So if he didn't do me like this, he wouldn't love me.
Right.
So, you got to think about that. And it's just like the mind is just like a sponge.
But it's different from a spanking than getting beat. There are those two different areas that
Yeah,
just
but see, they're not looking at that. They're not looking at look
And
at the
not
words that are
everybody
Listening
being
to
knows
said.
the
that
word.
there's a difference.
yeah.
Hmm.
But there's a
They're
huge
just listening to the words. That's all.
because you got parents that'll beat you,
Yeah.
literally beat you, and a
Hmm.
parent that will spank you for discipline that you wasn't supposed to go in there and steal $100 and flush it down the toilet. You knew better than that.
But see,
Yeah.
as a child coming to adulthood,
Yeah.
you really don't think about the difference between spankings, beatings, whoopings.
What this
You
is
looking
this,
at the word, like I
but
said,
think about it.
when I say the words, you're not listening
Uh-huh.
at me. The words.
Uh-huh.
If I did not do this, I wouldn't love you.
Right.
So when she
That was
sits
back
there
in
and
the
she says, "Well, if he didn't hit me like
day.
that, he wouldn't love me." And you gotta look at you find women that say this that's in abusive relationship, and this is all they know because, like you said, they're programmed.
Yeah,
And
they're
when a
Right.
person is programmed, they don't know nothing else. And to us, we'd be like, "Girl, please, you know better than that."
yeah.
But in their reality, this is what it's been.
That's what it
big
is.
for them.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, as an 8-year-old girl, having your father trying to condition you, what they call grooming, trying to
Mhm.
groom you, telling you if you tell your mom it's gonna kill her. In your mind, that little girl's thinking that if I tell her, she's gonna just die right then and there.
Mm.
That's what my thinking was as a 7, 8-year-old little girl.
And that's the worst of it. So anything else is not so bad. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So you gotta look at, the mind of a child
Yeah.
and coming up. That's just like, for example, even though this is totally different. When my dad coming up in the military, my mom, they would say he's retired, but my mom would call him retarded because it was like a program that he go by. And it's like with me, it's like we had to make sure we put our shoes in a certain spot in a certain way. There's a way we're supposed to do our clothes. There's a way our sheets supposed to be tightened. So it's like when I got grown and I'm on my own, I'm kicking my shoes off on the floor. I was in Germany. I'm kicking my shoes out and I'm like, ooh, and I'm picking up my shoes real quick because that's how I was programmed to do. So when you say program, brainwash, however you want to put it, you have to think about the mind, the way it thinks, even when you say, okay, I love this man. And if he didn't love me, he wouldn't beat me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then you gotta look at the reasons you were beat when you were a child. Were you beat
Yep.
because he was embarrassed? If you were beat because he was embarrassed or you did something he didn't like, not something that was wrong, but something he didn't like or didn't make him feel comfortable, or some friends felt a certain way or whatever. And then you grow up and that man beat you for the same reason. He's embarrassed, so you made him feel some kind of way. So you still stuck in that same cycle.
Okay, y'all.
exactly. And we be right back. Hold that thought, ladies. We'll
Yeah.
be right back. We continue this on. Hopefully we get in touch with our guests. If not, it's not like her, like the other guests we had before. I think we only had 2 non-absent, but she's coming on. So we know if she's not here, something happened. And we just send
Yeah.
our prayers for her. But we'll be right back after this with the Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
I was with this individual for about 3 years. He was literally a girl's dream, anything you would want in a man.
But 18 months into the relationship, Precious Wright wishes she'd never met the man she thought was a girl's dream.
Just a good angle. Yeah. So these are some of the photos, the bruise on my belly area, tussling with me to the ground.
There were also threatening messages.
I had to block him on several phone lines.
And when she didn't respond, the angry ex broke her car windows or showed up for an unwelcome visit.
Precious, let me in. Precious, I know you up there. I know you up there, bitch.
In 2023, more than 20,000 women were victims of domestic violence in Chicago. And listen to this, 65% of them were black, like Wright. Between February 2020 and March 2021, Wright practically had police on speed dial.
50?
50.
At least 50?
But when it came time to press charges...
So I went to court the first time, and that's when I dropped it.
You dropped it?
Mm-hmm.
Refusing to press charges happens all too often among domestic violence victims. 25% of all women drop them, and some, like Wright, take the abuser back.
Very strategic, very manipulative. His I'm sorries would be huge I'm sorries. It would be, let's go to the Virgin Islands, I'm sorry. And I would get suckered back in.
A lot of women just live with it.
The question is why? Gabrielle Molden Carwell is a trauma therapist with Resilience, a nonprofit that supports abused women and children.
A lot of people don't know, like, where to go or who to call or like the hotlines.
And sometimes when they do call, Molden Carwell admits financially strapped programs may offer limited support, forcing some to stay in abusive homes.
And my family is just as poor as I am, and they can't uplift me and now 2 children. I'm stuck.
Then there's the race factor.
Those who do report, the police still have the best responses to. I've seen people say, well, they laughed at me or they didn't believe me. And so if society don't believe that I'm being abused, what's wrong with me? Is it me or is it the precedent that's being set because of the way I look, the melanin in my skin?
I am a survivor.
Wright was fortunate. She could afford to move out of her apartment and leave her abuser. In 2021, she sought this order of protection, writing,
I have been dealing with abuse and stalking for the past year.
Describing in detail why she desperately needed it.
And I kept trying to fix the situation on my own. My abuser is stalking me at my home. He's waiting to catch me alone to physically assault me.
The 2-year order was granted.
And the message to other women?
Be resilient and be strong and don't give up.
All right. We have someone trying to hunt down the doctor now. See where she at. But make sure y'all tune in next week as we will also hear the man version of being abused, being in a domestic violence situation. Mr. Brenton Carter himself will be coming to break his silence on the broken barricade. So make sure you set your notification because this is one you do not want to miss. Now, looking at that there, I mean, I try not to get teared up because it brought back a lot of memories in my own path to where, I went through almost the same thing. So before we get into that, I'm gonna ask y'all, what was your feeling when you saw this and hearing her story? We'll start with Tanise.
Oh, a whole bunch of other stories popped in. When she was telling her story, I was looking back because I used to watch this stuff a lot on TV and stuff like that, and watch other people. Like I had a older cousin, like a really older cousin, like more like an aunt, older cousin, and she was being abused, and she escaped her abuser and came back to the country where I was living. And she got away like that. But even though he did a lot, he would pull her hair out and all kind of stuff. But when I saw that right there, that brought those kind of memories back. Because I was little, I didn't understand. But now that I'm older, I knew that now I understand exactly what was going on. And to see that, look back with my mom and my sisters and myself, my grandma and all them went through it. And man, my grandma was alive. Y'all would got some horrified stories from her. Some horrible story where she jumped out a 2-story window with my uncle while she was about 8-9 months pregnant, trying to get away from that man. And he didn't care if she was pregnant. He was beating her anyway.
Wow.
But that what got me was spicy was that restraining order. Because that almost never works. You can have it. It's great. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's a pretty paper. But it doesn't. Oh, I got a restraining order while he's shooting you or stabbing you. Because a lot of times that paper is better to get out and get away if you can.
Well, to me, I don't know. Everybody see it differently with the restraining order because with my ex-husband, I had a restraining order and a protective order. And even with both, he didn't care. He
Mm-mm.
still bashed out the back of my house window, still went in and, did what he wanted to do. It's like
Right.
he knew that they had a certain amount of time there because the thing is, even if you have it on camera, even if it's on camera,
Hmm.
they have to say, we have to catch him there in order to do something.
Yeah. Even though he was there, clearly on camera there.
Yes, because I mean, I was in the courthouse fighting for a case with someone for them, and then we ended up getting indefinite protective order. But the lady was there, and I felt so bad for her because she was like, she had witnesses, she had pictures, she had the camera, filming everything of this guy, even people from the job. He threatened the boss, everything, caused her to lose her job, and they still wouldn't grant her that piece of paper. But I mean, in all actuality, it seemed like metal is stronger than a piece of paper.
Hmm.
So, honey, what was your feeling when you seen this story from this lady and her telling her side of it?
Well, it took me back to when I was like 13 and I had a incident happen to me. Um, I didn't have anyone to protect me. My sister was dating this guy, and she was going to night school. And my mom was working, and I was home watching my sister two sons. One was one, and the other one I think was two or three, something like that. And the guy came knock on the door that my sister was, seeing or whatever. And I opened the door, and he say, "Well, is Nicole here?" I was like, "No, she'll be here in a little bit though. She's on her way home." I said, "She's not here." He pulled out a gun. I'm on the phone with my uncle's fiance while all of this is happening. I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't let nobody know nothing because he would have shot me and killed my little nephews because he threatened all of our lives. And he took me in the back room and he did what he wanted to do with me and told me if I told he was gonna come back and kill the whole family. So
Mm.
I was I was devastated. And the next day, me, my sister, my mom went over to my grandma's, and I was still devastated, but I couldn't say nothing. So when um I don't know how I reacted or whatever that night, but we was at my grandma's house. My mom and my sister kept calling me, "What's wrong with you? You ain't gonna." They just, it was negative what they were saying to me. So I left
Right.
out the house and I went walking, and my mom pulled up and told me get in the car. And when we went home, I went and locked myself up in the room, and I had got a knife because I was gonna try to, unalive myself. And my mom come knocking on the door, and she said, "Open the door, open the door." I didn't open the door, so she busted the door open, and she seen that I had something to harm myself. And what is you doing? So she gets angry instead of asking me,
What's the
what's going on, what happened.
matter?
She
Hmm.
gets angry and, did what she did. So that was two traumas for me that happened. And I went to school the next day with bruises and stuff all on me. And the counselor wanted to call the people, and I said, "No, just call my uncle. He'll come and he'll, get everything together." So, but anyways, it just took me back to a tragedy, and it made me feel just as horrible as I felt when it happened.
Hmm.
Yes.
With no help, I couldn't call, no turn to nobody, and nothing. So, pretty much most of the things that happened to me, I couldn't say nothing. So, well, I thought I
Yeah.
couldn't.
And
Well,
it's
you.
a lot of situations where, people don't understand, well, whether she didn't speak up or she didn't say anything or we didn't know anything. A lot of times you don't know.
Not
Well,
even.
And my thing
wait.
is that,
Mhm.
also was the problem was that, like, one person I helped through her, she was getting abused and I helped her through it. But when it came down to me revealing my abuse,
Mhm.
she went around saying that she don't believe it. And see,
Oh
this
wow.
is this is the reason why it's so hard to get help for the ones or to get the ones to speak out, because they do feel like nobody would listen or nobody's there.
Uh huh.
So, Nur, what was your feeling when you saw that movie? That story. I'm sorry.
I was sad. I had flashbacks. And we're talking about domestic violence and how the police don't like to get involved in restraining orders. But what about the people like Honey and myself who suffer in silence. We don't really say anything. So you have to get past that
Mhm.
to even acknowledge the point of needing help because sometimes you hear a lot of times when you little, oh, she fast, or get out that man's face,
Uh
or
huh.
why you got your shirt like that, or why you looking like that, you looking like you wanted this. Little girls don't understand that behavior that
Mm-mm.
Not
women
at
and
all.
men, and
Not at
so
all. I wasn't even
a
thinking of
lot
it.
of times people reflect themselves on children instead of just letting that kid be a kid and talking to us and letting us feel safe to share what's going on with us. So we suffer in silence for years and go through repetitively even until we see that it's not us that's the problem, but we need healing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly. And that's the thing is that the main word that we use is victimizing the victim.
Yeah.
They quick to say it's the victim's problem, or they because of the way they dressed, or the way they act, or the way they are, or it doesn't make sense. Like to me, you
It
sound mental when you say stuff like that.
doesn't.
I didn't ask to be beaten. I didn't ask to be raped. I didn't ask for this treatment. So how is it my fault? But then even in the system, you're victimizing the victim, but the abuser is the one you should be questioning the whys to.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you should be asking. Why did
yeah.
you put your hands on her? Why did you abuse her? Why did you do this to her? Now, Keisha, after seeing the story from this lady, what was your feeling? What was going through your mind in seeing this?
Um, a lot. The one that when she made the statement that the police, they won't believe her, they won't help her because of the color of her skin. Those papers, they really are just papers. They
Absolutely.
won't protect you against anything, and you pretty much got to be almost dead to get help.
Yeah.
um Stab, beat, whatever. um, I do know. I remember when my Mackenzie had called for help. Now she's 12, and she called for help, and that they told her that they could not come out and check on her. Now, what if
Wow.
she was getting abused, or somebody was doing something to her? Thank God that wasn't the case. But they told a 12-year-old that they could not come out and check on her, and
Mm.
they did not come out and check on her. So and she's a kid, so I could imagine an adult that's calling and crying, and you're fearing for your life, and they won't come out. They will not protect us
No.
Well, I've
women.
had
And
I've
you're
had
right. You're right about that. The police are, we're in San Antonio, not them, but I am. But, just like when I called for help, and
yeah.
then the time that my neighbor called for her because she heard me screaming, you know, you got the police officer sitting outside, smoking a cigarette, making bets on me going back.
Mhm.
But you're supposed to serve and protect, you know?
And I feel for you on that because they stereotype one person for all.
Yeah.
That's what they did to you. They stereotyped you because a whole bunch of other women did it, but you're gonna be just the same as the rest of them. That's how they
But
do.
even if she did go back, man, she need help right now.
But they
Exactly.
said, why should
Exactly.
they help? Why should they go in there and break these two up from fighting when in a couple of days she gonna have the dude right back? And some women do. It's not because they're weak. They're just so in love with this man. It's because this man, he knows this woman, so he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come back sweet talking.
Yep.
He knows how to manipulate and get his way back in. He know how
Mm-hmm.
to give her all the
Not only
promises,
that,
and
back in the
then
day,
he's back in there.
Mm-hmm.
back in the day when I needed help, I didn't know about the women's shelter. I
Mhm.
didn't know that there were programs and organizations out there where you could get away and get help. In my point of view, all I saw was I had to stay. I didn't have nowhere else to go. Where else was I gonna go? Was
Yeah.
I gonna live on the street with my children?
And then sometimes you get trapped like that. You get trapped where you don't have no money and you don't have no support. You don't have backup. You don't have friends or family that's willing to help you.
Right. And
And see,
and
that's
and
the
I
that's the
remember.
problem to where they feel like
Mhm.
because of these type of responses from people that they felt will help them. This is why they feel like nobody would understand, nobody would listen, and nobody would care.
Mm-hmm.
That too.
Because the thing is, it's not that she's weak. It's not that she's stupid. You have to look. Sometimes there's an illness.
And
Yeah.
That's a
especially if you
mental
ain't never.
illness. And if you
Mhm.
can't accept the mental illness on this level here, you'll never understand what it's like. And when we come back, because we got a commercial we're gonna go to right now. When we
All right.
come back, we're gonna address something that Cold Hearted said, where she said it's hard to say something, and we're gonna discuss why
Yeah,
it's hard for these women to speak out. Besides the fact that they feel like nobody cares. We'll be right back
absolutely.
right after this.
You don't understand what it's like unless you're there living it, and the fear and the way people get into your head.
To the outside, Nicole Hempelman and Stephen Hendrickson Jr. were a happy couple to a baby girl. But behind closed doors, Hempelman says her now ex-boyfriend hurt her and threatened her life multiple times.
When he hit me, I mean, I looked down at Annabelle and I couldn't let her grow up thinking that was normal.
Her motion-censored surveillance camera caught this on October 7th.
Did you just hit? Get off. Get off.
Hendrickson slaps the phone out of her hand and hits her with their daughter at her feet.
There you go. Call the cops, sir. Do it. Do it.
While she called 911, court records say he left the room and returned with a gun. Hempelman says she started documenting her abuse and took this video about a month earlier.
Put your phone away. Hold the baby. Stop recording me. You're gonna lose it. Put it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What happens next is too violent to show. Within 6 seconds, Hempelman screams and is then seen in a chokehold. Hendrickson was working as a firefighter paramedic for the Deerfield Township Fire Department in Warren County and the Stone Lake Township Fire Department in Claremont County. He was indicted on 5 charges, resigned from his firefighter duties, and pled guilty last week to felony aggravated assault, child endangerment, and domestic violence.
For so long, he told me, nobody's gonna believe you. Nobody is gonna believe you. I'm a firefighter. Hearing that guilty plea, like, it was almost like I was finally heard.
Okay. Remember to tune in next Friday to Grown Men Talking Incorporated, because guys will, I'm sorry, Saturday to the Unspoken Heart. I'm so ahead of myself. Well, Mr. Britton will be coming in to break his silence on the broken barricade against abuse. Mr. Britton, we look forward to hearing your story. Make sure y'all come in, support him, share the live. Now, before we get into that there, because we was just leaving off of speaking about what Cold Hearted had commented, where she said it's hard to say anything.
Mhm.
And this is where she said it's hard to speak, especially when it's family doing the hurt.
Mhm.
And my thing with that is that what we spoke on, because of the fear, like Honey said, or Tini said, where they threatened to say anything because the other family member, they're afraid to get harmed. You know, Denise, what do you have to say when it comes out to her comment where she said it's hard to speak and why?
It's very hard to speak. It is, because people tend not to want to believe you. It didn't really happen. With children, is the worst. And we get the worst. I mean, I'm not a child, but at the time I was. We get the worst that it's unbelievable. I can't believe that. It's just her imagination. She's lying. She's just out there. You know, that kind of stuff when it's not true. They want to cover it up. Or the other one that's even worse than that is, you all right. What happens in this house stays in the house. Don't talk about it. Let it go.
And I think that's been the main root of a lot of things in our, especially the Black families, because I don't know how y'all felt about the last video where they said it's predominantly in Black families.
It is.
But, you know, my thing is that, you know, we have it bad to where we do say what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, to where a person feels like, okay, I'm not allowed to speak out.
Yeah. And we wasn't. We wasn't. If we said anything, let's say if we didn't like the color blue, and to my biological father, if you disagree with him, that's probably a slap across the face or a beating. That's what you're gonna get.
Right.
Yes. And then China also said here, China says family, okay, just skipped on. Family is the most supportive. This is why I don't be out like that because people are crazy. Not every family is supportive.
No, not every.
Sometimes your
Absolutely
family
not.
is your enemy.
Your
And
Mhm.
family
that's
will
why I
turn
say,
right back on
you
you.
only because you born into a family doesn't mean you'll remain a family because
Yeah.
it's not even about blood no more.
No.
Nope.
Just to be honest.
But
Just like Cole
something
Hardy said, it's hard to speak, especially when it's family doing the hurt.
yes.
And I agree with her on that.
And they
If that
always showing you that they don't trust and believe you anyway. So why say something?
Right.
They ain't gonna
Mhm.
believe and trust you no ways.
Because
They
a
have
yeah,
lot of times the perpetrator early on will discredit the person that they're abusing or offending or whatever. While they're grooming them, they'll discredit them and damage their
their
credit
character.
reputation.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Hmm.
that
exactly.
I had
lion Shanna or that lion Shonda or whatever her name is.
yes, yes, he's manipulative. But they had one that a few it was quite a few years ago. This is when my babies were babies, and it had a young lady. I'm not going to put her name out there, but it had a woman out there. I'm just going to do it that way. A woman out there. It was one of my friend's cousins, and she had like a daughter. The daughter was probably about 4 or 5 years old. The baby had to go to the hospital because she got sick. The baby had two different sexual transmitted diseases,
Mm.
and the
Oh my
mama
God.
didn't kick out the boyfriend because he was the one doing it.
Wow.
She kept the boyfriend and continued. The little girl continued that abuse.
No, that's that don't make no sense.
They don't.
That's why that person feels like they're not safe or they can't trust or they can't say
Absolutely.
anything because even the one person supposed to be closer to protect them is the one that's defending the victim,
Absolutely.
the
Or
abuser.
showing that they believe the victim because a situation I was in, my mom was still hanging around the person that did something to me. And you
Oh
know
wow.
how that made me feel?
Oh yeah,
Right. Like an
make you feel
outsider.
like you being betrayed.
Yeah.
The parents don't want to accept it because that means that they have to come to some realization that something is happening. Maybe
Yeah.
this woman
Exactly.
thought this is all the man I could get, and then you jealous little girl, or you gonna make
Right.
me have to leave him. So
Mhm.
you lying. It's
Yep.
all you. It's because
You
the
don't
other
need
person
help.
don't want to accept it. They don't want to come to the realization. So they put it back on the victim.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
talking about the video that we just seen, and the reason why I chose that one because we do have some that are in position of authority to where they feel like they're untouchable.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
gonna go over to Nura and when it comes down to police officers, it comes down to firemen, anybody of those positions, they feel like they're untouched in that one way they're at work, but they're another way at home, and people don't know, oh no, he's real cool, he's nice, he's good people. He
Yeah.
wouldn't do nothing like that. What's your opinion on that? And what went through your mind when you saw that, Nora?
It's typical. It's typical because these guys feel like they're untouchable, you know, and some of them choose these careers because they're damaged and they want to have access to people with authority. And so, you know, these guys be they need psych evals for those type of jobs, you know. But I think it's a crying shame, and it's prevalent in our community that people are victimized by figures of authority, pastors, cops,
Mm-hmm.
people with influence.
Exactly. And for anyone out there, because I know Deshaun shared that she's a DV victim as well, just know we know each other personally. And as an advocate and motivation speaker, I'm here. But my thing is that there's also a number scrolling by. It is very secretive. It's between you and that person that you talk to. They're 24 hours. You can call them anytime or text them and they will help you. Also, we will be going over the signs if you're in trouble that you can reach over to say things, signals. And we will discuss that after we come from our third break.
Mm-hmm.
So, going over to, I think what it was Keisha,
Yes.
seeing that there, what went through your head when you seen this fireman being in this position, and as he told her, they're not going to believe you. What went through your head when you seen that there?
A cocky, traumatized little boy himself, because
Mm,
usually people that issue out trauma like that, they have experienced it somewhere and they don't know how to break those generational curses. So
mhm.
maybe his father
Mm,
did it to him or his mother did it to him. Something happened to where it made him be this way. And
mm,
once those kids grow up, because the baby looks pretty little, but once those kids grow up, they're probably going to become victims of it too. And if not, they're going to be victims because they're watching their dad beat the snot out of their mom, and he thinks that he can go to work and save other people, but he's doing the most at home. So it was pretty troubling.
Yep.
yeah. And honey,
I agree. I think he was a little boy that's traumatized himself and didn't know how to work out his issues, so he's taking it out on someone that loves him. Um, Also, it made me feel like us as women don't have a chance, even if we do speak up, because they, with men in those type of positions, they working with a lot of men, so the men's gonna have their back more than the woman.
Hmm.
So sometimes it just
That
discourages us to
cold.
speak out.
exactly, exactly. And that's why, I frown upon when people say, well, get over it, let it
Yeah.
go.
Better get over it.
Do you actually know what wounds and scars are to tell
Right.
somebody to get over it?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Denise, what is your response to that when you hear somebody say, "Oh, that happened years ago. So you need to get over that. You need to let it go."
No,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell him shut the.
Just don't know how many times I wanted to say that. Oh, pray about it and give it to the Lord. You'll get over it. Oh,
No,
what?
no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear this and say, I hope he gets what he deserves. I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope he gets help. Don't tell me to get over something. Those traumas last forever. You never 100% get over it. You may calm it down and dull it down some so you can make it through the day. But you, uh, as as far as a woman, you don't never forget what happened to you. You may
Absolutely not.
dull it out, but you're not going to forget what happened. And me personally, I would like this, because my our domestic violence is different from slightly different from y'all from a dating because it was my own father, but after you learn to forgive, after it took me, whew, I came over 10 years to forgive that man.
Hmm.
Over 10 years it took me to forgive him. And it's horrible because he wasn't the only one. His sister, my aunt, I can't stand that woman. Uh, but because of the stuff that she said, she was throwing curses. And,
Yeah,
I believe in those things. And throwing curses, saying that you ain't gonna be nothing but y'all little bees. Y'all ain't not gonna be nothing but hoes. You're gonna have a whole bunch of kids. They ain't gonna be nothing no more than a woman on welfare with a whole bunch of kids.
yeah, and like
Youth.
China say, and I stand for that firmly. Everyone should speak up and out to
Mhm.
be heard. 100. Never keep things in, and that's true. And see, that's the thing that why I say we're standing our ground to break the generational chain of abuse,
Yes.
because they want us to be quiet. They don't want us to speak up. They don't want us to
No.
expose who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing about it is when I began to forgive, and I went to my ex, and I could calmly say, I forgive you.
Right.
You have to understand, when
It
you say,
takes a
well, I
lot.
don't forgive them, I ain't gonna let them. No, it's not
No,
for them.
it's for
If
It's
you
for
you.
want to
you.
grow and you want to get strong and you want to move past this so that you can prosper in life, because I'm not gonna say you're gonna forget because you won't forget.
No.
We're not gonna say you're not gonna have flashback, but
Mm-mm.
God will help you to learn how to deal with it. But
Mm-hmm.
breaking your silence is a healing for you. Breaking your
Mhm.
silence could also reach somebody out there
Yep.
that also needs help, that can learn from this as well. That's why I say, yeah, the unspoken heart discussion hour is the foundation for domestic violence. So it's not just in October. Anytime you want to break your silence, you let me know. We will schedule one program that's that day, and we putting yours right there because
Yes.
this is what the foundation is about: is breaking the chain and not standing to take this anymore. And that's why I say I didn't turn down when they asked me to go speak before those judges. I didn't turn down when it comes on the press conference at the courthouse or the headquarters because we need to be heard. Why did it take? And I'm gonna say it like this. It didn't take until our officer responded to the domestic violence call here in San Antonio to where she was not the only one killed, but he was as an officer as well. But why did it take that for y'all to say, okay, we need to bring this from the background and we need to address this? It took one of your own to get killed by this abuser to say, okay, we need to do something about this. It shouldn't take that.
Horrible. That's horrible because it does. You are so right because it takes something to happen to the officers for them to do something about a situation.
Exactly.
Any situation at that. I know this doesn't have nothing to do with the topic that we're talking about, but I'm going to use this as an example, what you just said, and this is true to the fact.
Hold on. I don't know if this thing is connected or not.
Okay.
Grown women abusing wives. Call right back. I think it's disconnected. Call right back and I will answer you on so we can hear what you got to say. I know we had a blowout earlier and I think it disconnected it. There you go.
There it is.
Grown women talking, grown women abusing wives.
Grown men talking? That's what you say.
Lord.
Look, I'm running three different shows, so my mind is like tongue tied right now.
Grown man.
I better call back. I'm a little early. But
I know who that is.
yeah. But you know what? I just wanted to touch on the video, that y'all was showing about the fireman. Now, that is so true because I do remember many, many moons ago, and God bless my boy Ron Bowie. He was we was a friend of this guy that was like he was a nurse. A lot of people respect him in the hospital. We used to play, me, him, and us, the guys that together we played cards and we played dominoes. Get out and do God things. And one day we went by because he like, y'all come pick me up and we were about to go pick him up so we can get together and play some cards, play some dominoes. When we got there, we heard a lot of argument, fussing and fighting. It sounded like so and so, and that sounded like him and his wife. So we sat in the car for a while and it kept getting louder. Then we heard a scream. We got out the car and we went to look in the window and he was in there beating on his wife. So, me and Ron and us went in there, we pulled him off, like, dude, what's wrong with you? He said, oh, it ain't nothing. It's just we had these arguments and sometimes get out of hand and blah, blah, blah. Now, I looked at her and she said, yeah, we do this sometimes and it get out of hand, but your eyes say different.
Right.
Your eyes say different. Now, we left him there. We said, look, man, y'all need to seek help or whatever, but we left. But me and Ron, like, man, I just don't feel right about this. So me and Ron went to his job and we snitched on him. We snitched on him. So after the hospital did a investigation, they talked to the wife. The wife did say he beat her. She was scared to talk. And we kind of had that feeling too, because we didn't want to push it to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But after we reported what happened, he did get arrested. He lost his job. His wife came and thanked me and Ron because she said he'd been beating her for years.
Oh wow.
Oh boy.
And it was
Beating
hard
her
for
for years, and we didn't know it.
It was
we
hard for her to
was
go.
like, he was a cool dude. We hang out with him. We let's go have fun. Blah, blah. And we would never know that this man was beating his wife because they seemed so happy together. You just couldn't tell.
And that's why people don't speak out.
It just shocked us. You know, it just blew our head, and I'll never forget that when we went there to go pick them up, and we saw what we saw. But I want to say this: a lot of this comes from, like you said, family, because he had some kids, and the kids seen it. This is where a lot of the young men learn this behavior.
Mm-hmm.
They see their daddy, or they see the daddy beating on the mama, and they feel like that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the woman is accepting, she don't do nothing about it, these kids grow up and they think it's a normal thing. And this is what a lot of young men do because they see dad doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, well, shoot, you know, this is what you're supposed to do when your woman get out of line. You check her,
Right.
beat her a couple of times, get her straight. And that's not how we're supposed to do it.
Mm-mm.
That's not how we're supposed to do
Exactly.
it. I just wanted to touch on that because when I saw that video of the fireman, what he did, and I said, yeah, you know, the fireman, policemen, or certain people in professional jobs, I guess, I don't know, I guess they just feel untouchable, you know, whatever the case may be. But like I said, we would never have guessed in a million years that this dude was beating his wife like that.
Yeah, because at work he's putting on a facade. You know,
Yeah, they hide it.
Yeah.
That's not
He
his
was
true
putting on
character.
the song. He's one of those good dudes, one of those guys that you just couldn't believe that he would do something like that. But he did.
And probably would
You
help.
know, he did, and we sat there. We had this man. We broke bread with him. We sat there and talked to him. Shoot, matter of fact, to be honest with you, he was there around us that time when I put a dude. It was at a Pizza Hut on Ridgeview Road back in the day, where Prime Time was at before he got shut down, San Antonio.
I remember Prime Time.
Yeah, they have a spot.
Yeah. And we were sitting there just chilling because that's a spot to be at. And they like, oh, the white. I said, what's going on? There's a man out there beating on some woman. So when I went out there, they helped pull that man off. And then the woman jumped on me. I'm like, what the hell? Police came. Yeah, the police came and she was jumping on me. And I'm like, damn. And the same guy, the same dude, like, damn, the white, I bet you feel stupid. I said, why? Because you pulled that dude off and then she jumped on you. I said, hey, all I can say it's a mental thing. I don't know what's going on with her, but I just say for beginning her butt beating the mocha. He had him on the ground beating the tar out of him.
Okay,
So
let me ask you this, Dwight. Now, you know, we're very grateful. You know, we know your heart, and you know, it's very, you know, likely that you find somebody there step in. But on cases where people do see a man attacking a woman, why do you think they do not want to get involved or try to help or call for help for that person?
Well, I can't speak for all men, but most men that I have talked to have said that they have stepped in, and usually 9 out of 10, the women turn around and attack them or tell them to keep their nose out their business. And a lot of men, when they hear that, they say, you know what? Shoot, I'm gonna mind my damn business now. I'm gonna just stay out of it. I try to help somebody. Yeah,
It has happened.
I try to help them, and I'm the bad guy because I stepped in and trying to help somebody. Now I'm the bad guy. So a lot of men, they look at it today like you hear, they say, "Man, shoot, ain't none of my business." I mean, even if you're not gonna get involved, the least you can do is call the police. At least do that. At least call the police. I mean, if you're not gonna get involved in it, at least down 911 and get the police there so that way they can get this woman help. Because you got to imagine that can be your sister, that can be your mother, that can be your daughter. And I'm thinking that my daughter was somewhere. If my daughter was somewhere and getting beat, I would at least hope somebody would jump in or call the police or something. But you know, we live in that world now that a lot of dudes that now they seen things that happen, they just kind of refuse to get involved now because you know, some of the women, not all, but most women get mad about that. So,
but have you thought about it like this? Have you thought about it like this, where that woman that was getting beat, if she hadn't acted the way she did, when she got home, she probably would have got a worse beating when she got there.
And that could happen because my ex was like that. Like this one lady, you know, had said something. She got involved, and when I got home, he jumped on me. And he
you
was
said-
like,
Yeah,
next time
yeah.
you do this, next time you do that.
Yeah, it can
Well,
be
yeah, that can be it too. So,
Yeah, that's the way she
but
jumped on you was a defense mechanism for herself, because she probably would have got home and he probably would have jumped on her more because she didn't step in.
Yes.
Right. And it was her fault.
well,
Yeah, it was her fault.
Exactly.
Everything is the
well,
other person's
yeah,
fault. Not they ain't taking accountability for their actions, but they gonna blame you.
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and y'all ladies are right. It does happen like that. I had heard ladies, some women say that the man do beat them worse when they get home because they blame them. It's not their fault, but they blame them because they drew attention to them to
Mhm.
themselves. And you got these guys over here want to jump in me. It's your fault. So yeah, you know. And it does happen like that. I'm not saying maybe that's why that could be the reason why she did that, but hey, you know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
your
sad.
I
fault
want to
that
give
I'm
my 2
jumping
cents
on you.
in
It's your
Thank you for
on
fault you
that.
coming
made me
in. We
hit you.
appreciate you. And on
Oh,
that
much
note,
love.
yes, much love. And on that note, we're gonna go to break and we'll be right back with domestic violence awareness right after this.
Mom. Mom. Oh my gosh. Mom. Somebody help me, please. Please, somebody call 911.
911, what's your emergency?
Please, help. There's someone. Blood is everywhere.
Ma'am, please remain calm. Help is on the way.
Stretch with dry waterfalls lying down my bare face. Silver metal content laid upon as a temporary place. Attempting to retract how one landed a cold wound. Visions in head are blurring with outlines of gloom. Surrounding echo voices speaking from medical terms of technology. I did not go to college, but one appeared a degree of biology. White covering shield, blocking optical sight. All is not dark, for there's a faded gleaming light. Footsteps onto pavement as temperature never begin to change. I can't feel a heartbeat, for no emotion is in range. A hand lowers the head, removing cloth of protection. In glass above, mounted one flat mirrored reflection. Eyes positioned towards the ceiling without a minute's blink. Now being motionless, I won't even have to think. The face is unrecognizable for any human being to see. I'm lying lifeless because he took all his anger out on me.
I'm sorry.
What are you trying to say?
We did all we can do.
What do you mean?
We did all we can do. She didn't make it.
Yeah, thank you, China. Thank you, Cold Hearted. Appreciate it. If for the ones I do see your names in here, if you put a purple heart in there, being that you have tuned in, if you put a purple heart in the comments later on when I go back after the show and see your purple hearts, I will contact you and I will send you that CD as a gift from us for tuning in and supporting us here on the show. But you got to put your purple hearts in there.
Right.
And also make sure y'all tune in next Saturday to the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour as Mr. Britton Britton Carter will be coming in to break his silence on the broken barricade. Make sure y'all come show him some love, support, and all. Thank you so much. Now, like we spoke on Visages, because
Yeah.
sometimes we don't recognize a person as an abuser in order to say, okay, I can't do this with you. What are some things that you could look for as red flags when your relationship that this person is an abuser? Keisha.
Putting you down, not taking your opinion in the matter, belittling you in front of family, isolating you from family and friends, like just trying to keep you to himself so nobody will know what you're going through. Um, Keeping you from, events, keeping you from having any type of girlfriends because they know that you would tell. So they want to keep their shame hidden.
Yeah.
Watching your phone, who you calling, your incoming calls,
Yep.
all of those things.
Yeah. And Miss Nira.
Yes, ma'am. From the first thing that came to my mind was, you know how they say, birds of a feather flock together. So I would say consider the company he keeps, the people who he considered friends or mentors, and how they treat women. That's important because that's his support system. You have some men sometimes that are egged on by their friends. Oh, you gonna let her do that, man? You need to get your woman and keep her in line, you know. So you got to consider who the guy hangs out with, and some of them don't have friends, so that's something to consider also.
You know what? That there, you just lit up a light bulb in my head because with my ex-husband, I realized he couldn't keep no friends whatsoever. He had one, but that one he was in fear of, and you could tell he wouldn't cross him that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and honey,
I would say insecurities, like Keisha, the young lady said, the controlling, the just narcissistic ways for me, all of that, insecurities, verbal abuse, controlling, alienating. Yeah, I agree with the ladies. Hmm.
and Denise.
Red flags. Okay, they can be subtle. They start off slow. They don't throw it all at you at one time. They'll do subtle things. I don't think that outfit will look right on you. I need you to wear this. It'll look better this way. Oh, I don't want you wearing those kind of dresses because it's showing too much. Take that off. Wear this. Or I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriends today. I don't think you should hang out with them right now. Because I have something we need to do. We're gonna do some dinner tonight, so I'm gonna need you to cancel that with her. Subtle stuff. Oh, I don't. Are you gonna go work? Okay, you can go to work, but you know, after we get married, you will probably need to go ahead and quit that job right there because I'm gonna take care of both of us. Financial.
Yeah.
That's that financial dependence come in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Holding that
I can say,
money.
you have to be careful because when they're trying to tell you how to dress,
Uh-huh.
like my ex-husband, he didn't want me wearing makeup, and I found out the reason why he didn't want me wearing makeup because he felt like that attracted other guys. And just even for a situation to where he was on Fort Sam working in the military. Another reason why they thought they couldn't be touched.
Yep.
But him in the military is like, he had my picture on the desk with his son. And it's like because the soldiers came in and they complimented, and it was just a compliment, about his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You think a man would be proud, but he took my picture down, and I was like, why did you take my picture off your desk? He said, because I didn't like the fact that them complimenting you. But
But
if I tried to go anywhere with makeup, he would take his hand and try to smear my face, smear all the makeup all over my face.
oh
You
wow,
know, it was crazy. So yeah, you have to be
that was
careful
insecurity.
with those red flags.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say I see your purple hearts with China and Cold Hearted. I did write those down. Also, China, she was gifted one of these cups here. It did come in actually yesterday. So this was gifted from Family Game Day and from DJ Mac. He gifted to her. So we will be sending this over to, I think she's in the Bahamas. So she be getting it, be coming with a cleaner and 2 different silver metal straws. I lost mine, so it's not there. But I will send that off, your CD off with that as well. But if y'all want the book, some of those pieces from that CD is from this book right here. And you can find that on Amazon. All 3 of them is on Amazon. The last one is not poetry. It does have some poetry pieces in there, but we're now getting into the true story of my generational chain of abuse and how I came to now. This one here is actually from 6th grade to 12th grade. We will be getting into the one from 12th grade to now. So y'all just keep your eyes open. Also, we got another CD that DJ Mac is working on with me. So we will be getting that one out too. Now and there, we're going to part 2. So y'all just keep your heads out. Really appreciate y'all love and support. Especially the ones from TikTok that have been buying the book. I see y'all. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all for supporting me. A lot of them done videos like Honey. She's done a video letting everybody know I got my books and my t-shirt. So, in those red flags, my thing is that people need to know that there is somebody out there that do care.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Mm-mm.
And you don't deserve this. So don't ever feel like it's your fault. Don't nobody deserve to be abused.
Nobody.
Whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, because there's financial abuse too. So let's get that out there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let Keisha give everybody the definition on that one. Where they go talk about financial abuse. What you mean financial abuse?
I
Keisha,
know
tell us
somebody
about financial
personally
abuse.
financially abused.
I'm gonna say it's basically where you could be a career woman, but if your man is of the jealous heart and very controlling, he wants to have all control out of incoming money, outgoing money, because then that keeps you seated. You can't go nowhere. You can't shop. You can't. He buys your clothes. He buys your food. He gives you like a little kid. He gives you extra spending money, but then he want to know where you spending it. He is in control of everything. So even though he's giving you money, you still don't have no financial freedom. So then that right there keeps women so afraid to leave because they have no way to support themselves, and usually it's a kid involved, so they have no way of supporting themselves nor the kid. And then when you try to reach out to family, they're just going to go back and tell him, which is going to make things for you worse. So it's just like a whole circle, especially if it's his family. He's usually going to have his whole family involved. He's going to paint this picture of you already, so when you try to reach out to them for help, they're going to go right back and call him, and he's going to come right back to that house and do some things to you. And then you may even, they go as far now, they lock you in rooms. Yeah. And you only come out when he says you can come out.
Yep.
So
now I'm gonna go over to Nura. Nura, because I'm gonna let each one of y'all give your own definition of each category when it comes out to it, because she just gave the financial abuse. Nora, with physical abuse, what's your definition and what you have to say about that?
Any way that someone touches you that makes you uncomfortable, anything that you don't want, it might hurt, it might not hurt, but any violation of your personal space is physical abuse.
Yes. And Miss Honey, we'll go with you on the mental abuse.
Mental abuse is anything that tears you down mentally, like verbally. They can discredit you as a whole person. Everything you know to be you, they'll take it and twist it like it's not you. So anything that's harmful, any harmful words that can mentally disturb your mental.
Yeah. And I'll piggyback off of that. We'll go to Denise with the emotional. When you also say mental, because a lot of people don't know exactly the mental words. like she said, anything that tears your character down, anything that inwardly tears you, like saying, calling it, you dumb, you stupid, fat, you ugly, you ain't gonna be about nothing, anything negative, those are words of abuse. You have to be careful the words you use, especially when it comes down to your children, because you are actually, speaking into your children, those negative words of what they will be. You just stupid like your daddy. So what you think he's gonna turn out to be? Learn to speak positivity into their minds.
Yep.
Something that'll help them grow. Now, Denise, the emotional.
Yeah, it's similar to mental.
Well, I'll give you the emotional and sexual.
Okay, no, emotional. I can do it. I can do either one. It doesn't matter.
Well, we're gonna have you do both.
Emotional. So, but emotional abuse is where you it really, I've seen emotional abuse. It hurts little girls, but I've seen it hurt boys worse, because boys are not allowed to cry. You a man, stop it. Stop being a little punk ass. You a man. That's emotional abuse. Stop crying, stop whining. You can take that hit. Little girls. Little girls is the other way. It's more like the moms that do this one. They're sitting comparing themselves to their daughters. Expecting the daughter to, like the one video that I saw where the mom was abusing the daughter emotionally and physically too, but emotionally she was definitely having the little girl, she wasn't a little girl anymore, she was 17, but threatened to kick her out in the street because she didn't feed her brother, her 22-year-old brother.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Yes, that's abuse. She was mentally abusing that girl because she was comparing her, because she was hating the father, so she's hating the daughter. I should have aborted you and this and that. Now it was too late for me to abort you. It was emotional abuse. It totally make her feel like she was nothing.
Exactly. I appreciate that.
Oh, and
great example.
Can I
And
add
then the one on the sexual abuse lady.
The one I was going to tell you was Keisha was all on point, but the one little thing that she did forget, those men tend to drain the woman. If she has a lot of money, they tend to drain those accounts out.
Oh yeah. Yes.
They drain them out.
Yeah, they want control over the what you get paid, take your whole check and everything.
But they drain them out and spend the money on themselves.
Exactly.
We had a situation at my dental office so bad, the man was telling her what dental treatment she could get.
Shut up.
And he, hey, I'm not paying for that. And, you can only get this. And, so she was so afraid, and we all picked it up, and she would just trim her at just anything. He called her name and she would just jump in fear, and we say, hey, do you want to get this? No. You tell him first. And we all kind of picked up that something was going on, and thank God she finally got away from that man.
Oh wow!
Because the little girl would just say, "Oh, my daddy beats my mom." She was like 4 or 5.
Oh,
and,
like it's nothing.
Wow!
Like it's
nothing. The little girl would just tell all the business. Oh, my dad beats my mom. And the mom was, even though the little girl said that, the mom was still afraid. Still afraid to talk. The dad had to come and pay for her stuff. He told us hey, don't do this, but do this, and don't do that, but do this. And she would just stand behind him and kind of shrug her shoulders. And, he said, I can't get that. And he said, I can't get this. She had no control over, not even a say so over her mouth, her body.
But you know what, Keisha, what I caught on that, the story you just told, that the daughter thought it was normal. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. Because she said it just like it was just as a matter. Oh yeah, by the way, my dad beats my mom.
That's what I said. Like it was a normal thing. Like
as if
that's why we gotta be careful with people for our children, because they take it just like I said with the love part. They think that's love. That's not love.
Yep.
But eventually, if she would have stayed in that marriage, she would have been dead, or her daughter would have been following suit.
I mean, she still could.
Well, no, she got out, and she's still a patient, and she comes and she pays for her own stuff.
Awesome.
And the little girl. Now the dad does bring the little girl in, like they're definitely divorced, but he brings the little girl in. Now you know what I'm seeing in the little girl. Now she's starting to clam up and be like what the mom was. She's probably 10 or
Oh
11 now. She's
no.
older now, but she's starting to kind of, shrug those shoulders down and hide behind him while he pays for her stuff and tells her, we're not gonna get this. We're gonna get. I say, oh, it's a, ooh,
He's ruining her life
yeah.
already.
Yeah, he
Exactly.
got away from the mom, but then he's starting on the little girl, and she's 11. I think she's about
So
11.
in other words, he's grooming her to accept abuse from another man. But then when he sees another man abusing his daughter, then he want to get mad.
Yes. Now he want to be machos.
And
And
see,
she's
that's the
gonna be
other thing I don't
confused.
understand. If you sit around here and I'm talking to one's abusers, whether they women or men, don't get mad when somebody abuses your child when you're abusing that child's father. Don't you know that's somebody's child as well?
You abusing that child, but you
How you
abusing
gonna
that.
get mad at somebody doing your child that way when you did their mother that way?
Yes.
Make it make sense.
That's like an oxymoron.
Exactly.
Yeah, she married somebody like daddy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's giving signs because as y'all see the numbers scrolling by, if you know someone that needs help or someone that's in danger, or if you want yourself is being a victim of abuse and you need someone to speak to, there is a number scrolling by. It can be kept confidential. They are 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you need that help, I advise please get help. And
Please.
also understand that even though a person escaped from her abuse, this is one thing you got to listen closely to. It's a process. Even when they're away from their because you like we spoke on mental and emotional. That's a scar and a wound. So it's a process of healing and getting over.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, if you don't get help, and I'm talking to the victims, if you don't get help, without you even realizing it, you could end up transforming into an abuser yourself.
Oh yeah.
And you have to acknowledge that there's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong going to talk to somebody of professionalism. Because I'm gonna tell you, the battered women in children's shelter, I didn't think nobody cared. Nobody. Till I got with the police department and they had me over to victims advocacy and they introduced these people to me. And when I got in counseling, that's where I got to feel safe because I felt like somebody actually listened, somebody actually cared. But they also gave me the tools to make the steps to heal, along with being able to identify an abuser and being careful of who you let into your space.
Yeah.
You have to be careful because just like the devil,
Sneaks right on in.
it's a disguise. Be
Yep.
careful, but always know, ain't no man that fine,
Uh-uh.
and no love should be deeper than with the one you have for yourself or for God to accept abuse from anybody. Father,
Love yourself more.
brother, sister, pastor, whoever. You're more valuable than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies, in educational wise, if you want to, and I'm gonna ask you just to give one example. If you're in danger and you want to get help, what is one method can you use? We'll go over to Nura.
I'll throw my little
She's
hand
like,
up.
oh,
If I'm in danger and I want to get help, I, I don't
if
understand.
you're in a situation and your abuser's right there, but you cannot talk,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
what is
use the
some kind of
bathroom
signal
and
can you give to reach out for help?
go to the bathroom and talk to a lady in there or leave a message on the mirror. Lipstick or something.
Okay, Keisha.
Um, as there is a sign. I see Teresa doing it, so I'll let her have that one. But
So now you got to come up with another one.
usually, if you go like to a doctor's office and they ask you these questions, no matter what, because they ask you, do you want a person to go back with you? And then once you get back there, they'll ask you, are you safe? Do you feel safe at home? And that would be your time to speak out because your abuser is usually not in the room with you. or
But
tell
what
them
if
that
the
you need
abuser?
to go
Because
to
you
the
have
bathroom.
some abusers that will not
That
let you go alone.
So
absolutely.
I'll tell me. I'll be like, hey, I think I have a UTI, so that I can go to the bathroom and use that little cup. I ain't gonna pee in the cup. I'm gonna leave you a whole letter.
Inside that
Because
cup.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
I'll
way.
leave P on there, but it won't be my name. It's Denise.
What is that?
SOS.
Stop the abuse.
Yeah.
And honey,
I'm gonna throw my hands up like this, like I can't talk.
the only thing I don't like about that signal there is because it can be misconstrued.
Yeah, it can.
It
That's
can.
a signal too.
Yeah.
It's a
If you
signal,
can't
but
talk, if
if
one
you can't
somebody,
talk,
I'd be
you
just
gotta
like
have the
this.
writing there. If you do that, it's best to have a writing there. Like if you got a marker right on your hand, if you put help and then you do like this, yes. But if it's just a bare handle, nobody really understand what you're saying. That's why I say they need to indicate, and that's the right signal, but make sure that you have a marker or pen and write across it so that person can look at because everybody knows they're gonna want to know what's that writing on your hand. They don't know if it's a phone number or what. You know what I'm saying? But also,
It
if
sounds sort of like you could throw a napkin, like if you're in a restaurant or something, you could throw a napkin on the floor.
exactly.
Or what if you get somebody ignorant? What's that on your hand? What do you mean help?
And it got
What you mean help?
What you need help doing? And you just like, I'm dead for real now.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
another way is like, say for instance, y'all there and you're like, look, do you want me to order a pizza or something?
Yeah, I've
And
seen that one.
you order a pizza, but what you're doing, you calling 911.
Yeah.
And when they ask you, you order the pizza. As
And
if
they
you
should know
order the
the leading
ingredients.
questions.
But they're gonna ask you, can you talk? No, I don't want no hors d'oeuvres on there or whatever they call anchovies.
I don't want
You're relating to because they know you're in danger.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, you want something to eat? Yeah. Is it the wrong order? They know that they're not a pizza place, but they know you're in danger. So that's also another way to reach out for help. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give each one the opportunity to give a nutritional word today. And also to thank everyone over there, both Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch and Instagram for tuning in with us. We truly appreciate it. October is not just awareness month. Yes, that's the month we make knowledge of, but every day. Because just think, 1 in every 3 seconds somebody's getting beaten,
abused in it.
abused in some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, stand in silence, break your silence to better yourself and strengthen yourself, but also educate your daughters and your sons. Because that's one thing I did do, even though I was in an abusive situation. When I got out, I did apologize to them for exposing them to domestic violence. And I promised them that I would never have them in that situation again. And I kept my word.
Mm-hmm.
But I also made sure in my path that I was on my sons and my daughter about abuse. Educate your children. Because even if you have no domestic violence going on in your home, please educate your children. Because there are people out there that are abusive.
Predators.
So, honey, nutritional word.
If you're going through a situation like that, never think that you can't reach out. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be some help out there. Like Spicy say, yes. If you have kids, do it for them because that staying in that situation is not good for them as well as not good for you. What are you teaching your kids if you stand there? You know what I'm saying? So I encourage everyone, if you have those issues, please speak out. If you need help, call hotline, just love yourself. Self-worth, y'all. Self-worth.
Exactly, because like we didn't express here on this panel that it's never okay to accept abuse in any way, no matter what nobody say. And the old saying, what stays in the house, what goes on in the house stays in the house. There's no more of that. I thank
No.
God for helping me to break my silence in order to help others and to reach out. Because this was when I asked him what was my purpose, because I got tired of being hurt, because I came up in a home of nothing but abuse. and it could have went differently. It started to because then I started coming attracted to the wrong men, the ones that did abuse me, and I felt like it was my fault. I felt like that was love, but it's not. So know that there are people out there that do care. There is help for you, and we all need to break our silence for us, not for the victims. I know they could have you in fear to where they threaten you about killing your family or harming you, but no, the also safety things as well, because we will speak on that in a minute after this word. Denise, the nutritional word, please.
Okay, I just saw you can text 911. Yeah, you can, and you
Yeah,
can
you
do,
can.
and you can do also on your computer. They will still get the message. But with that being said, I'm gonna come to an area where I started mine. Um, Ladies, especially ladies, gentlemen too, believe your babies when they tell you that something's wrong. L- Pay attention to your children's behavior. If they're all nice and lovely and bubbly and stuff, and all of a sudden they get all quiet and subdued, and then all they want to do is stay in their room, something's wrong. You need to
Hmm.
find out what's the problem, what's happening. It could be Uncle Billy Bob that's doing something to him, and you believe in your brother and thinking that your brother wouldn't do anything. He be one of your family members is usually the ones that are doing it. So are abusing your children. Sometimes your dad, but most of the time it's going to be a relative. Um, Pay attention to your kids' surroundings. Don't leave your children out in these days, out in the front yard by themselves and stuff like that without watching them and stuff. That's how a lot of kids get snatched and they get abused. And next thing you know, you might find them and you might not. I'm just
Okay.
saying, just be careful with your children. Pay attention to their behaviors. If there's a sudden change, talk to your children. Never have your children afraid to talk to you.
Absolutely. Hmm. Okay, we're gonna go over to Miss Nora.
Alicia Keys, she has a song, I Won't Tell Your Secret. A lot of times we feel a burden of and an obligation to loyalty, and we won't tell, we won't talk, we won't tell the family secret. But you have to speak out, you have to get help,
Hmm.
find a way. I'm available. If you want to inbox me or send me a message, you need help and you don't know how to reach out for help, you can contact me.
Hey, thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, any one of us on the panel, whoever you feel comfortable with, you can reach out. I do have resources because actually, this is also a business. So I also do the advocacy part on business. So I do have a phone, business phone, as y'all know, to where, people reach out to ask for help for, information, agencies and fundings and all. So that, they could be directed and escape from their situation. Now we'll go over to Keisha with the nutritional word.
All right. So I'm gonna, sisters, brothers, young people, if you're watching, you're loved, you're beautiful, and you're worthy to be here. We need you here. So please know that you can get help. You can do this. We believe in you and we need you to be strong. If you've never been strong in your life before, now is the time to be strong. Call that number that is at the bottom of your screen. Get help. Get help now because we need you to be here because we want to love on you. Your family wants to love on you, and then you need to love on you. But until next time, stay safe.
Thank you. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. The ones that put up the paper hearts, I will inbox you either on TikTok or either Facebook Messenger so that I can have your CDs shipped out to you on behalf of us for tuning in and joining in with us. We do love y'all and we do deeply appreciate everything that y'all have shown in love and supporting us as a show and all as in a whole. You know, domestic violence is never okay. Will it ever be solved? We don't know. All we could do is what we could do. One person saved is like a multitude saved. And I know someone just inboxed me. They wanted to know these two people up here. Actually, one of them is my grandmother. That's my big mama. And she also was a survivor of domestic violence as well. And the other one is my second oldest son. And he actually is the one that helped me build and start off the Unspoken Heart business. So thank you for asking. So, in saying that, make sure y'all come show some love to Mr. Britton
Oh, yeah.
on next Saturday here at the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour, where he stands his ground to break his silence and broken barriers. Listen up. You learn something, and it could be somebody out there can really need and heal from what he has to say. I love y'all all. Y'all have a good night, safe week, and much love.